Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Voice of Game. Today I have my friend Siddharth Puri, if I'm pronouncing it right, founder and CEO of SVG Media. And we would like to pick his brains a bit about the Indian market and their endeavors to the Chinese market and the Southeast Asian market. Uh, Hi Siddharth.
Hey.
I guess my first question would be, we all know that SVG Media is one of the biggest enterprises in India, but can you tell us more about SVG Media's business?
Sure. So, from an SVG Media standpoint, we consider us as an entry partner to digital products who are looking to expand into emerging markets. For us, our playground, of course, being an Indian company starting out from India, India definitely has been our home ground. But over the last 10 years, building this business, we have expanded a lot, going beyond India, led that setting up operations in the Middle East, markets like Saudi, UAE, markets in Southeast Asia. From an SVG Media perspective, we run 4 different brands, 4 different companies, which focus on 4 different product lines. So we have Tyru, which is our leading brand, where we help global companies to monetize their inventories in the markets, in emerging markets in Asia. We have 79, which is a mobile video platform. And we have Comly, which is a company we acquired quite recently, which has very strong operations in India and Southeast Asia. Other than that, the other businesses focus on PC web. And mostly, I think so, from a market share standpoint today, after Google and Facebook, we would be the 3rd largest platform in the market.
All right. Well, can you tell us briefly about the gaming market, specifically the mobile game market in India? How does the scene look like right now?
So very interestingly, I think so. Mobile gaming has really changed over the last 8 to 10 months. If you were to ask this question last year to me, I would have been very depressed and dampened about mobile gaming in India. We had last year around 60 million people. From a mobile gaming perspective, if you would have asked this question 8 or 10 months back, I would have given a very different answer to what I'll speak now. It's changed quite drastically, just because from an Indian consumer perspective, people have started to afford better devices. Earlier, 8 months back, the average device which a consumer owned only had an average memory space of around 2 gigs. They would have like a phone, very shitty phone by the way, which was practically only used for keeping a couple of photos and making calls. But today's consumer has started to look at, they've already owned their first phone. Now they're going towards their second or third phone. So they're more aware of what they want. They're going after more space. The cost of a device has actually come down. At a cost of around $100, we have devices which have less than, which have like around 8 to 10 gigs of space available. So that's positive. Overall, as a consumers, most of the consumers in India were casual gamers. So over the last 2 years, casual gaming was at forefront. So Candy Crush was definitely making money. But like I said, over the last 8 or 10 months, thanks to card games coming in, so Indians love card games, offline or online. So with advent of card game, we suddenly see a lot of consumers coming on board, becoming comfortable with in-app purchase. We feel that today the market would be sitting at around $100 million, give or take, from a mobile gaming standpoint. But this should, by 2016, this should at least become 3x, just because of more consumers maturing up in the value chain.
Well, all right then. So, what I want to ask next is, do you have any advices for local developers that they want to venture to the Indian market, and what are the key differences between the Indian and the Chinese markets?
I think so. One of the most important thing which local developers have to remember is to not to get infatuated by so many local languages. In China, when you're making a game, it matters a lot that if if you're keeping the Chinese script in mind, consumers are very particular about it. But in India, the next 200, so India today is already 200 million consumers. The next 200 million consumers which will be coming on to using that device will not be even knowing how to read and write in their local language. For them, mobile is going to be a visual medium. So you should focus on creating IP, which is focused on more design, which is focused on more usability from a creativity standpoint, and keep it simple. Keep it simple, because just remember that Indian consumer is just evolving. Comparatively to China, I think so the big difference one should always keep in mind is that we may not be very great with strategy games, because that's not something very cultural to us. Definitely think about card games, think about RPG. We like bombs, we like guns, we understand that stuff. So I think so, yeah. Indians, you need to mature the market. We are 4 years behind China, simple. So what worked in China 4 years back will work in India.
All right. I guess my last question would be is, what are SVG Media's future plans for the Chinese and Southeast Asian mobile gaming markets? And do you have any upcoming products that you're excited about and do you want to share with us?
Sure. For us, I think so. It's exciting times. This trip which I did at Beijing, it was really fun to understand how much excitement in 2016 from Chinese company is around India and Southeast Asia, specifically markets like Indonesia, Malaysia. I think that's very positive, and so great you guys are having an event there. But most importantly, I think so from our perspective, one thing which the mobile game developers need to understand from an earning perspective is that ad dollars are equally important. As compared to in-app purchase, and unfortunately the ARPU of the consumer is still very weak. So you need to work and build products to earn money from categories like e-commerce, which is much well funded in our side of the market. So we're just launching a new product line which focuses on getting the commerce ad dollars into the games. On how can we help game developers create user experiences where rewards could be maybe spa services, it could be free taxi rides, it could be any kind of O2 services which a consumer wants, hence creating real life intent which could be taken back into the game and create better experiences. We hope to launch this product at the end of June, and would be love to understand and learn much more around how it really behaves for the Chinese developers.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Siddharth. Thank you for coming to the GMGC Executive Party, and thank you for your time. That was a very, very insightful answers. And
Pleasure.
thank you all for viewing. Subscribe, share, whatever buttons you find around, do click them, and see you next time.
Cheers. Thanks, man.